Hello everyone, back tuning in today's video doing JMA Friday. As always on a Friday we're having a detailed look at the weather for the next month. And this update is going to take us into the start of summer, can you believe? It's going to take us to the beginning of June. So meteorological summer, of course, is 1st of June to the 31st of August. It's a bit questionable really because the weather doesn't change with the month like that. The seasons don't adhere to those strict criteria, but it's helpful to have a defined period when it comes to divvying up the numbers, and so summer runs from the 1st of June to the 31st of August, so this will take us into the beginning of summer 2017. I'll have a look at JMA first of all, then I'll have a look at CFS V2 and see what the models are showing for the next month. So we'll start off with 500 with our height anomaly flowcharts from the pole down. And this is the latest, so these are broken down into weekly periods. The first week period will take us from today, the 5th, through to the 12th of May. On these charts, blue is extrapolating to low pressure, and the brighter colours, oranges, reds, they are extrapolating to high pressure. So we see I've got a trough of low pressure down to our southwest and also a trough up to the northeast, and then we've got a ridge out to the northwest in the coming week. Quite a complicated pattern, but essentially the wind and the flow will be doing something a bit like that. It means we're bringing in quite a lot of easterly winds and fair amount of dry weather. However, this trough could well be threatening to bring rain in from the west and from the south over time. So although there's a lot of dry weather predicted with that kind of a setup, watch out for that trough down there. It's a big one down to the southwest of us, which will be trying and probably in the end succeeding to throw up unsettled conditions. And then that takes it to a very, very different week two. This is going from the 12th through to the 19th of May, where we've got a big trough of below average height sitting right over top of the country. The winds are coming in from a westerly Atlantic driven direction, so it just looks very unsettled. That if that's right, the middle part of May is going to be unsettled. There'll be showers or longer spells of rain, and it's just a unsettled pattern. We haven't seen much of that for quite a long while, but in a very dry spell. So be interested to see whether that does indeed come off. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, which is the 19th of May through to the 2nd of June. And we find that we've got below average heights continuing around the UK, above average heights, high pressure coming into the north of Scandinavia, so a little bit of northern blocking. But essentially it looks like the jet stream, if I get rid of those L's, it essentially looks like the jet stream is running through in that sort of pattern coming into the UK, possibly a little bit south of the UK. So it looks like it's a continuation of unsettled conditions really as we're running through into the latter stages of May and the beginning of June. So having a look at the mid-latitude and tropical view, and in terms of temperature and precipitation anomalies, the British Isles is in the top right-hand corner of the chart as you are looking at it, by the way, on this view. So a reminder of the 500 millibar height anomaly for the next week. This going from the 5th through to the 12th. We find we've got below average heights down to our southwest, above average heights to our north. A lot of dry weather, easterly winds, but this trough is with time breaking down the ridge. In terms of precipitation, it's generally a dry of an average week. It is wet and average, interestingly, down to our south, but most parts of the country coming out with a dry of an average week. Wetter, perhaps, along the south coast. Temperature anomalies look quite cool, so those easterly winds are going to be chilly with the temperature anomaly coming out below average. Going through to week 2, and it's a complete swap around. We've got the deep trough there centred over the UK with the jet stream coming through as well. You can expect this to be a much wetter week. That's what the model is indicating, with precipitation anomalies, rainfall anomalies going above average. Temperature anomalies are still staying on the cool side, so not only is it unsettled, temperatures are staying pretty poor as well. So that does look like a very poor middle part of May, with cooler and wetter than average conditions expected. Have to emphasise again, that's quite a change on what we've had over the past few weeks and months, so we'll have to see how that goes. And then finally weeks 3 and 4, which takes us from the 19th of May to 2nd of June, we've got this trough extending through the country, probably bringing the jet stream through as well. The precipitation, anomaly rainfall is still coming out above average, so an unsettled 2 weeks there to end May and begin June. Temperatures are recovering a little bit, so we're losing those cold and average temperatures. We're going back to near normal to slightly above average. So there is a recovery in temperatures at the end of May, but it remains quite unsettled. That's how the JMA is looking. What about CFS V2? So again, 500 of our heights broken down into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 5th through to the 11th of May. We've got exact agreement between the two models for the coming week. We've got the ridge up there to the north, got the trough down to southwest. A lot of dry weather being brought in with that ridge and easterly winds, but this trough is threatening unsettled conditions from the south and the west with time. So we go through to week 2 and look at this. It's identical to what the JMA is doing. The 12th to the 18th turns very unsettled. Low pressure extending through the country. The ridge is pushing away up towards Greenland and Canada. Also got a ridge down in the southern east part of the Mediterranean. But for us, we're bringing the jet stream through, so it does look a very unsettled middle part of May with that one. Then week 3, which is the 19th to the 25th of May, looks like this. Low pressure is up to our north, got a ridge down to our south, and the jet stream is coming in from the Atlantic rather like that, so it still looks unsettled, particularly so for the north, perhaps a little bit less so for the south. However, week 4 brings quite a big change. This is for the end of May, the 26th of May through to the 1st of June, and look at that, above average heights are back in over Scandinavia. The wind will be back in from the east. Not sure what went wrong there, so let's get rid of that and start again. The wind will be coming in from the east with that high pressure, and well, you'll be back to pretty dry conditions, I think, with that at the very end of May into the start of June. And those easy winds, of course, by the time you get through to June, easy winds are going to be quite warm, albeit they'll probably still dragging low cloud to the east coast. Temperature anomalies for the next week, coming out cooler than average with the CFS V2. Week 2 temperature anomalies, it's a very unsettled week, remember. A little bit better, they're closer to average, maybe slightly above average. Week 3 temperature anomalies are a little bit above average. There is a recovery in temperature taking place in the second half of the month. And then week 4, when that ridge gets going across Scandinavia, again, we find temperature anomalies are going up above average. So quite a warm end to May, start to June. Finally, precipitation, the next week looks drier than average, quite significantly so. Then we get a much wetter week from the 12th to the 18th of May, particularly for England and Wales, looks very unsettled. Scotland, interestingly, still coming out a little bit drier than average. I'm a bit dubious about that. I think all parts of the country will be wetter than average based on that height anomaly. We start to lose the rainfall signal for week 3. We're just reverting to average. And then week 4, again, losing the signal. You would suspect with a big ridge over Scandinavia that by the 26th of May to 1st of June, we'd probably be very significantly drier than average once again. So that's how it's looking for the next month. We've got a fairly good agreement for the first 2 weeks. We start off quite dry, when it turns much more unsettled through the middle part of May. We have a spell of wet and quite changeable conditions. The second half of May, a little bit of disagreement there. The JMA, I think, is generally keeping things unsettled into the second half of the month. The CFS looks like it quite quickly wants to go back into a drier pattern, and based on what's happened over the past few months, that might be the way things are going to go. Actually, we might find ourselves slipping back into another block setup by the time we get through to the end of May and start of June. So it could be this unsettled spell that's coming up through the middle part of May, if it materialises, will be fairly short-lived. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Right, we go forecast tomorrow, so come back for that. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.